Hello everyone. Today I want to talk about becoming comfortable with the uncomfortable. Most of us are living in a way that is an avoidance of our pain. Our whole life is skimming around the surface of feeling anything uncomfortable. Our whole life is about avoidance. And when our life is about avoidance, we are not really living our life. We don't get to really live our life. We purely live in avoiding. Skimming, 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 skimming. I can't feel this, or I can't feel that, or I can't face this. So we're not really fully here. We build all these strategies to push it away, to hide it, to block it, to shut it down, to suppress it, to not have to face it. And those strategies become our life. So I'm going to start by first talking about why. Why do we live like this? Why have we become so afraid to feel it all? And why have we developed all these strategies? You know, when we're children and we first, it always goes back to childhood. When we're children and we experience the first moment of heartbreak, or the first moment of loss, or disappointment, or fear, when we experience that first moment of pain, as children, it is just too much for us to be able to experience it fully, and so we develop habits and behaviors and strategies to protect us from it. We shut it down, or we disassociate, or maybe we start daydreaming, or maybe we start thinking about someone else or something else, or whatever it is. We will find some way to protect us from feeling that again. And then we realize, oh, that worked. And by the way, this isn't conscious, this is all in the unconscious. We realize that it worked, and so we do it again, and then we do it again, and we do it again. And then we just believe that that is our life. Maybe it develops into many other habits and behaviors, like drinking alcohol, or binge eating, or focusing on diets and control strategies, or obsessing about someone or something, or worry, or constantly keeping ourselves busy. That original protection that we had as children evolves and develops into all these habits and behaviors that we find ourselves stuck in our life. And it feels like it's keeping us safe. It feels like it's keeping us in the good place, because then we don't ever have to experience that pain again. But the problem is that what it does, and what we might not be able to originally see, is that it is blocking out all possibility of love and intimacy and presence and connection and joy and freedom within ourselves. And so at some point in our life, it's important that we ask ourselves, is it worth it to continue this way? These behaviors and strategies of protection, this avoidance of the uncomfortable, has gotten me so far. And I thank it. Thank you for getting me this far. Thank you for getting me through the pain at first. But then we have to ask ourselves, is it worth it to continue? Everything that we want in our life, is continuing this way going to get us there? Or is it going to keep pushing it away? If you are someone like me that wants love, that wants intimacy, that wants connection, that wants to experience the fullness of this life that we get, then the answer to that question, is it worth it? Is no. And so what's the solution? The solution is facing and feeling the uncomfortable. And I can tell you this now, the idea of feeling pain, the idea of feeling grief, the idea of facing and feeling that uncomfortableness is so much worse than actually doing it. And when we feel something fully, when we really are courageous, and we step into the uncomfortable and we feel it in its wholeness, it passes. It does not last forever. It does heal. Have you ever had one of those times when you have started crying and the tears and the sadness is so big, it almost feels like you're never going to stop? Well, I have never met anybody that hasn't been able to stop. What actually I've experienced is when we allow it to really come, not long after, it stops itself. And we feel a moment of freedom. And we feel a moment of peace. On the other side of the pain is peace, is love, is light. And I know that sounds like really nice words, but I promise you that is the truth. But we cannot get to the other side without going through. So the invitation for you is to start leaning in. And that takes courage. And it takes a real warrior spirit, which is everything that I believe we are capable of. It takes courage to face the uncomfortable, to dive right in, to let it overtake us with trust that it will move and that we will come out the other side. And whenever we do that, the more we do that, what we are doing is we are smashing down those walls of protection and strategies and survivals that have been blocking us from really fully experiencing our wholeness and our life. The more that we can lean into the uncomfortable, we get comfortable with being there. And what does that do to us? My God, we can start relaxing. All that energy that we use to avoid, we can just breathe. We can start to let go more and relax more, and we start to notice that we can breathe a little bit easier, that our life starts becoming more fluid and flowing. The unfolding of what happens in our days and our life becomes more aligned. But more importantly, we start to feel comfortable in ourselves. And that feels great. So, I guess I want to ask you, if you've been living in a place of avoidance, how much is it worth it to stay there? How much is it robbing from your life now? And is it going to get you to where you want to get to, or to what you want? And are you ready now? Are you ready now to lean in? To lean into the uncomfortable, knowing it will pass, knowing it won't last forever, and trusting that on the other side is your freedom. So here are the tools for you to take away from this video. First, I invite you to write down on a piece of paper, right now, what are the things that this avoidance of pain, this avoidance of uncomfortability, this strategy, this behavior, what are the things that this behavior is robbing from your life? What are the things that it is robbing from your life and from what you want? Write it down as a list and be brutally honest with yourself. The more honest you can be, the more powerful this is, the more powerful the possibility of change and transformation here. Really get honest and write down, what is it robbing from your life? And then I want you to ask yourself, am I willing to continue allowing this to happen? Is it worth it? If the answer to that question is no, and you are ready now to lean in more to the uncomfortable, I want you to remember these things. I want you to remember to face everything and trust that it is for the highest good. It is for your highest good. And that through facing it is your healing, is your growth, and is your transformation. I want you to remember to concentrate, because it will feel uncomfortable and it will feel scary, and your habit to run away will come back. So concentrate, remembering what it was robbing from your life, remembering what you want, and remembering that it is for your highest good. And then, more willing to face the uncomfortability, more committed to becoming comfortable with the uncomfortable, having those uncomfortable conversations that can lead to so much possibility, feeling the uncomfortable feelings that might wake us up enough to allow us to create change, not just in our lives, but for each other's. And when we can do this for ourselves, we start to build empathy and compassion for the people around us. And that's when we really start to experience more intimacy and love and community and connection. You know, we're in a time right now on this planet where it's like we are the loneliest we've ever been. But we're all looking for love and connection. And so diving in, being brave, being courageous enough to start leaning into what is uncomfortable, both out there and in here. The gift of that is being able to feel more connected to ourselves and to each other, being able to feel more love with ourselves and with each other. And that's when we really start to become more alive with ourselves and with each other. And this is not something that you are going to learn overnight. This is life's work. But let it begin today. Let it begin with the first step. Let it begin now. If you are ready, let it begin now. So the next time today or tomorrow or the next day or next week, when you are faced with something uncomfortable within yourself, I invite you to pause and remember your commitment. Remember your choice to start leaning in. Allow it to move through you. Choose to trust that you will come out the other side. Do it with curiosity. Do it with like an experiment for a new way to be, and see what unfolds. And remember, you're not going to get this right. You're not going to get it perfectly. It's okay to do this clunky and messy and imperfectly, because that's what being a human being is. But do begin. Let it begin today.